Before we get into the show,
There we go.
I got to let y'all know the way I want to do it. Can you please download the
Lord.
WKYC Plus app?
Here comes the groveling.
Here we go. Come Monday, 10 a.m. We are live streaming on the WKYC app for the first hour, the full 2 hours, but the second hour is on YouTube. But listen, we don't want to lose y'all in no capacity. We did what we had to do to make sure that we added the chat for y'all. So can y'all do us a favor and just pretty please download the WKYC Plus app? Thank you. And you can still like and subscribe to the YouTube page too if you want to. And still tell a friend. There it is.
That's what it sounds like when Earl is begging for forgiveness from his girl. Baby, please, baby, please.
It's more like
pretty
boys
please
to
in there.
men,
He threw a pretty
bended
please.
knee, but whatever.
All right, guys, let's talk a little Cavs. It was a terrific start to the game for Cleveland, up by 29 at one point. Got way too close for comfort at the end, but a couple takeaways, and we'll kind of weave in and out of this. But Jaylon Tyson got inserted into the starting lineup for Donovan Mitchell, played his best game in a couple of weeks until he suffered a toe injury in the fourth quarter. That is why he did not close the game for the Cavaliers. Evan Mobley, another monster performance, a giant double-double. And James Harden, a 30-burger, his first with the Cavaliers, 36 points, 7 threes, his best offensive game. Jason, when you look at all the ins and outs, it was a win for the Cavaliers. Obviously, the ending not ideal, but bigger story. Harden going nuclear from 3, Mobley putting up another monster performance without Jared Allen, or Jaylon Tyson getting back into the flow of his offense, but having to leave in the fourth with a toe injury.
Bigger story. I'd actually put Harden third on that list. He can do it. You know he's capable of doing it. Honestly, it might be Jaylon. Just
I agree.
We haven't seen it. It's been a rough couple of weeks for him since the trade, and whether he's hitting a rookie wall or trying to adjust to a new role. Evan, Evan's capable of doing it. Harden's capable of doing it. And so that was a big moment for Jaylon to sort of get his legs back under him. That's not a good win, though. Like, a win is a win, but you can't blow – was it 29-point lead?
29.
29-point lead. That's a sign of immaturity. And this team is too experienced now and too veteran of a team to – you're on the road. The Bulls are not a good team. You can't let them back into it to make it that sort of a game like that. So they got to get better at – keeping the foot on the gas and closing things out, but at least it's a win, and as you said, it's good for Jaylon to sort of feel good about himself again.
Yeah, man. All of the good stuff that they had going on is crazy because it gets kind of overshadowed by them letting them get back into the game like that. I mean, this is like a 1-point game. Like in the fourth quarter, it's like I think they went on a 33-something run, 33-8 run, 33-8, and it's just like that type of stuff. And I get it. It's NBA basketball, and these guys get paid for a reason. But the Bulls, they ain't got nobody. The Bulls, like they got Giddey. And besides that, they got a bunch of guys, and they are not invested in winning any games. You can't let a team just walk back on you and just put themselves back in the game. But if you want to look at the positive things, I've always been saying it. I believe that in this 37-point game from James Harden, it made me rethink some things.
He was awesome last night.
He was phenomenal. The way he was, the step back was moving. He was dropping dimes, his pocket passing. One of his underrated, if it is underrated, I don't know how you can say it's underrated, but his underrated ability to put backspin on these pocket passes. He could throw a pass in the paint and,
he's elite.
And spin it and drop it. It got back action on it where the big catches the ball, and he does it where he's able to do that around defenders and still get guys in position to finish at the rim. It's crazy. I didn't know it was like that until you get to actually start watching this guy. But the Cavs might be their best option in offense may literally be just give James Harden the ball and let everybody figure out where they're going to be, and then he figure out and orchestrate the offense. Now, that's very difficult to do against great teams, but he's just that good at it.
He's a Hall of Famer, one of the best isolation scorers in the history of the league. So, yeah, he's not the same James Harden he was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He's still really, really, really freaking good at it.
Yeah, so, but I am encouraged not by Evan Mobley's points. I'm encouraged by the rebounds. I've always said the first stat I look for Evan Mobley is what did you do on the boards? And another 14 rebound game, 12 or 19 dunks around the rim. He was really in the paint. He was really finishing in the paint. So to me, I would go with that because the Bulls didn't have a big down there. He saw it early and said, listen, this is going to be me all night.
Yeah, well, I'll get to you. I want to start with Tyson because he got hurt in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it seems like the Cavs, anytime they start to put some positive momentum together, and it's not a serious injury. Jaylon said he landed. He blocked Colin Sexton into the front row. It was an awesome defensive play and landed wonky. It was a non-contact, random, fluky play where he gets hurt on after having his best offensive game in a while. And as Kenny Atkinson has kind of toyed with Jaylon Tyson's minutes over the last couple of months, or I guess more weeks once they acquired Harden and Schroeder and Keon Ellis, Tyson's kind of struggled to kind of find his role. And we talked about it the other day. I think part of it is just this part in the season, this deep in the season, he's never played this many games. He's playing more minutes. It's a more evolved role than he had as a rookie. But also being the secondary creator like he was last night without Donovan on the court, as opposed to being the third creator alongside both in some of these bench lineups, there's just so fewer opportunities when you're the third creator to get into your rhythm. And the young guys, this is not Tyson specific, young guys need to get in the rhythm sometimes. Like, they need to get things going early so they can feel the confidence, feel better about it. It's hard to be a guy that doesn't get touches till late in the first quarter. You're only getting the ball with 4 seconds on the shot clock because Donovan or James is running through the offense. And then you have to make a decision when you're cold.
Yeah.
That's tough. Last night they made it a kind of effort to get Jaylon going more early on. Not that he seemed more involved because his defensive effort's always there regardless of how his offense is performing. But he was engaged more offensively because he had those creation opportunities. And how Kenny figures out how to get Jaylon enough touches and enough creation opportunities early enough to try and maximize what he can bring offensively is going to be his biggest kind of rotational question as the season progresses. It stinks that he got hurt because it puts a damper on what was an otherwise awesome night for Jaylon Tyson. But that's the big story. Jaylon playing like he did last night helps the Cavs with their rotational depth and their matchup options against the teams like Boston and a team like New York who has bigger wings. Jaylon Tyson, like we've seen in the 3 games prior to last night, probably ain't sniffing the court. And part of that is just kind of the seesawing and yo-yoing of minutes that he's had since they've made these other acquisitions.
You know, Jason, I was looking at it, and Kenny talked about he wanted to use these games as a, sort of a referendum to see who what that specific lineup in the playoffs is going to be in terms of rotation.
Yeah.
And after, I guess 5 or 6 games, the last 5 or 6 games, I feel like nothing is, like, everything's still up in the air. Schroeder has been up and down. Keon Ellis couldn't buy a shot. Now he seemed to be hitting shots. Jaylon Tyson is in. Well, he played a great game. He's out. And then Max Strus got added to the
only
mix.
thing we know for sure is that Kenny trusts Max more than he trusts any of their wings. That's the only thing that I think has been proven in the last week. He trusts Max inherently. The other guy's still fighting for rotation spots.
Yeah.
Is Strus the starter by the playoffs?
Not if he shoots 0 for 5 like he did last night from beyond the arc.
Well,
but
he's not gonna do that.
I think so.
I still think they stick with Dean for the playoffs. I could be wrong. And Max comes off the bench, at least for the start, and then see how that looks. See if Dean can make shots or not. And it may be a really, really short leash on that. I just like Strus in that creator role as a guy who can do a little bit of everything coming off the bench. I think there's more freedom for him without playing with the other 4 guys. But I don't know. It could very well change as the playoffs progress, depending on the matchups and everything. But it's something to watch.
Yeah, it's strange because there's given. I think Dean went scoreless last night.
Dean did not score last night. Not a good Dean game.
It's just that's the thing. If you start Dean Wade, Kenny has shown the propensity that if Dean ain't really doing nothing in the first 2 minutes, he can go out and not even play 5 more minutes the rest of the game. He's got a quick hook on him. Keon Ellis was in the lineup the other day, and then he missed a bunch of shots. I think he ended up starting him. But yeah, it's going to be a strange thing because at this point in the season, I would feel way more comfortable if they did have the guys that were in the rotation that they knew who were going to play so they can understand how to, where I get my shots, where do I get my minutes at. I understand where in the offense we create because now you got Max Strus who's more of a creator. Jaylon Tyson's more of a creator. And those guys are, coming off the bench with the second unit. I want some defined roles, but I don't think we're going to get them.
Well, it was interesting that last year Kenny tried to play 10. He was adamant he wanted to play 10 all the way up through the playoffs, and he's already said
Ain't gonna happen.
9, maybe 8. And they got and I think that's the more
realistic.
Yeah, that's the more realistic way to go. I just think 10. I said that last year. I thought 10 was too many in the playoffs, and the deeper you get, the more that gets cut. I mean, you get to the finals.
Playing 8, trusting 7.
Trusting 7.
Or maybe playing 7, trusting 6, depending on what the matches are.
Yeah.
A little tease, but coming up in the WKYC show, we're going to talk about if the playoffs started tomorrow, who makes that 9-man rotation for the Cavs. Back to last night's game, though. The Harden and Mobley pick-and-roll combo has looked significantly better in the last
Why
two
do you
games
think
than
that
it did
is?
before.
Because I noticed it the other night that I thought it looked better. And we talked about it on the show, on our Cavs show, that, yes, it was possible that Evan just needed to be a little bit more physical and attack the rim a little bit more. I didn't think it would happen as quickly as it did, though, because it went from looking pretty rough to looking pretty good pretty quickly.
In the last 2 games alone, Harden has 7 assists to Evan Mobley in pick-and-roll situations. He had 4 last night against Chicago. 4 of his 9 assists were to Evan Mobley in those exact situations. A couple of things I've noticed. We did a whole breakdown. You can find it on the YouTube page after the win over Milwaukee, so it'd be on Wednesday morning. Mobley's making contact on the screens. He's actually standing there, even if it's just for a half. He's holding the screen for half a second longer than he was before. He's rim running. Not every time. He had a jump shot in one of these highlights you'll see. I think it might actually be, no, it's not this one. But he hits a little jump shot off it where Harden uses what G said earlier, a little backspin on the pass, finds him in the pocket. There's a defender in front of him. He just pulls up for a little 8-foot jump shot. A lot of it is reps. A lot of it's comfortability. A lot of it is kind of playing with each other and getting the sense of we're now reading the defense the same way. There are ways where the defense can cut you off where even Jared Allen, who's a rim runner, it doesn't make sense to run to the rim directly because they already have the help side defense from the corner in the rim. Jared could jump over a guy, but that's just, you're getting an undercut. So now they're reading it seems like they're reading the defense in the same way, which is allowed, whether it be the pick and pop, whether it's the pick and roll, whether it's the hard rim run, which draws 2 defenders, then Harden kicks it out to Jaylon Tyson, like you can see in one of these clips, for the open 3. More than anything else, Jason, I just think they're seeing the defense the same way. And that just comes from time, repetition, and film study.
Yeah.
More than anything else, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing that's working now is stuff that was there a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. They just weren't reading the defense in the same way, and now you can see them be on the same page. It's like a quarterback and a receiver.
Yeah.
So Jerry Jeudy and Shedeur Sanders talked about it. Like, they weren't seeing the defense the same way, and that's why there were some routes where Shedeur thought Jerry was going to cut in and Jerry cut out, or he thought he was going to go on an option route and Jeudy stopped and turned around. It's the same, situation or the same premise, just a different sport.
And then and plus too, it's a gift and a curse. The gift is that you are seeing what he can do with Evan Mobley. The curse is you've seen this kind of twice now. Like, Jared Allen has this really.
It's the one big thing.
It's the one big thing, man. And now you take a look at Jared Allen. He's off the court now. Evan Mobley is on the court, and James Harden is good enough that if you just give him more reps and he gets an opportunity to see how you're going to play it, and then also too, it just seems like this type of game plan. It's kind of better. I wouldn't say better without Donovan Mitchell, but the stagger seems to be like if you get one of them with a big, and then you put James Harden with a big, and then you split the reps and you say, all right, let me get Harden with a big, or Donovan Mitchell with a big. It just seems like there's a better flow. They haven't been able to put it all together with all of the big names, and I just think that's difficult to do.
One other thing too. As a big, and G, you could talk about this from your high school days. There was guys I played with in college, the same thing. They were more willing to set good screens if they knew they were getting the rock. And after Milwaukee the other night, where James and Evan connected on multiple pick and roll situations that led to great shots, you know what Evan's saying? I want to do that again.
Yeah.
No one's ever scored 28 points and been like, oh man, that wasn't fun.
Man,
no one's ever made shots and got good looks and been like, oh, yeah, that sucked. I hated doing it. Like, no. They get the results. You see what worked. You do it again. Rinse and repeat. And with the spacing, this is from the Milwaukee game, with the spacing the one big lineup with shooting around them creates, it's all about just finding the little pockets of space Evan did it against Milwaukee. He did it again against Chicago. How they do it when Allen and Mobley are sharing the court, like that is a Kenny Atkinson question, and he makes more than all of us combined, times about 7. That's why they get paid the big bucks and we don't. But after seeing it work, you go back to it. And I would expect on Friday night, whenever they play again, tomorrow night, against New Orleans, you know what they're going to run a lot of?
Yep.
James Harden, Evan Mobley pick and rolls. And until some team can figure out how to stop it, why would you go away from it when it's your best offensive option
I
right now?
love it when James Harden said, "Hey, listen, Evan Mobley, crazy game tonight. He should have had 40. He should have hit him for more." I love it.
So when James Harden says he has the potential to do that, it's, oh, good. But when me and Jason say that, it's,
Hey, that's Harden.
we're communists.
That's Harden. You know what I'm saying? That's Harden. You know what I'm saying? Listen.
I'm a lefty, too.
Hey, listen.
I can grow a beard.
Hey, what? We haven't seen the McNuggets beard.
It would take 3 years for that.
It would to get James Harden's beard, it would take a long time.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So before the evolution of the James Harden and Evan Mobley pick and roll, me and you will be at the games and we will see at first sub, when everybody's healthy, is Donovan and Evan coming off the court together. It's Harden and Jared coming off the court together. When everybody's back in the fold, do you anticipate it still being the same way, or Kenny might mix and match that, that first dead ball?
I mean, it's probably worth exploring mixing and matching, but I still think at the end of the day, Allen is exactly what Harden wants in terms of the traditional rim-running pick-and-roll partner. I still think that pairing makes a little more sense, but with how well the last 2 games have gone for those two in particular, yeah, they deserve a chance to get more reps together. I just don't know if Donovan and Jarrett have the same kind of chemistry based off their – because Donovan doesn't throw lobs. Think about how many games we've been in. How many lobs has Donovan Mitchell thrown, Earl?
I done seen Don drop a lot of dimes. Never too
No,
many.
no
above.
lob.
He doesn't like. No, he's talked. He doesn't like throwing lobs. He doesn't feel comfortable with it. So like that's something to actually keep an eye on. They deserve, Mobley and Harden deserve the chance to keep this thing rolling. But I just think overall, Mobley and Don's a better pairing than Mobley and then Allen and Don would be in the long term.
I'd be interested to see.
Disagree?
I'd be interested to see how the usage is between Donovan and James Harden. Are the splits? Does Harden have the ball in his hands, initiating offense more when he's on the floor with Donovan Mitchell? Because it looks when Mitchell is on the floor, he's looking to break down the defense. He's looking to get into the paint. Obviously, he's going to look to score. But I'm just trying to figure out what's the best plan of attack in terms of the offensive field, because it does still feel like it ain't disjointed, but it feels like the offense is still a work in progress in pieces and parts rather than a whole cohesive type offense.
Did you hear Serena Winter's report mid-game yesterday? Did you watch the game live?
I did not watch it live, but I know what you're talking about. I did see it.
So, in case anyone missed it, Serena Winters, who covers the Cavs,
It's
the
exactly
sideline
what
reporter.
you've been saying since
Yeah.
the trade.
Thank you. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Right? No, but Serena was talking to Sam Merrill pregame, and they had a graphic that showed how many assists James Harden had to each player on the Cavs since he joined. Sam Merrill had 23 assists at the time. That was the most of any player on the Cavs from James Harden. And Serena said that after talking to Sam, she was asking how they're trying to combine Kenny's offensive style with what James Harden wants. And like I've said before on the show, James wants you to stand still so he knows exactly where you are so he can read the defense. Kenny, by nature, runs a very cut-oriented offense. So how do you mix and match the two? There's not a right answer. It's kind of figuring out how you can still incorporate cuts early in the shot clock so you can get to your spot so when Harden attacks, he knows kind of exactly where you are. And, Serena said, Sam said it. Sam's obviously a much more knowledgeable basketball voice than I. Maybe not. I like Sam, but we know what? Sam knows more about basketball than I do. But when it comes from Sam Merrill, it has more merit than when I say it on UCSS. But yeah, it's what they're gonna have to figure out, G. There's not a direct answer.
Yeah.
It's a lot about feel, about play, and about matches.
It.
Our team's gonna move with the cuts. Our team's switching.
Yeah.
If teams switch, you don't want to cut as much because you're just running into air. If teams are gonna follow you, you can use those switches to create mismatches and advantages. So there's not an exact answer. A lot of it is matchup dependent.
Yeah,
opponent dependent.
I always go back to them 16 teams, man. What people fail to realize is them 16 teams and them old school teams had a basketball IQ where they understood game to game. Like they would find out game to game. They were able, oh, you guys are, back in the day, it was all about how you guard and pick and roll. Are you going to ice? Are you going to hedge? Are you going to hard show? Are you going to double or trap off the pick and roll? And every single game, there would just be something new. And you'd be like, well, it looks like they're guarding Steph Curry and Klay differently this game. So, like, that the basketball IQ thing is huge. Harden has it. Donovan Mitchell, obviously, very smart players. It's just all about trying to get it figured out when you play in other great teams like the Celtics.
Final thoughts, Jason? Are you ready to move on?